So welcome to a quick video review on Exam 1. We typically do this in class in about 10 minutes, so that's how long I'll take here. Then in class we do a top hat tournament. Obviously we won't be doing that because of the snow day, but I will give you all the information that you need to know to prepare for the exam next week. Obviously you're seeing Blackboard right here. If you have any questions about when anything is due, the syllabus and schedule we'll provide that information, but for us, we're interested in going to course content, and then you'll see here exam review. So these are the slides I'm going to go through in depth right now so you kind of understand what this exam is all about. So for this particular exam, first of all, for any of those registered for disability services or need to be registered for disability services, make sure you schedule your exam today. So right now, jump online, make sure you jump on Clockworks and get that scheduled. It can be scheduled the same day as your lab. Time really doesn't matter for me, so any time that day will work well. This is something you definitely should take advantage of, a non-distracted setting for those who need this particular service. So I would encourage that heavily and not take it during the noisy and compressed time period. So the rules of your exam are simple. They're going to be in your lab, so you show up to lab. We ask you to log into the computers and then don't do anything else. So you can go to Blackboard, but since all traffic is going to be monitoring, stay off email, stay off chat, stay off Facebook for that. No devices or phones are out, so put those away. You'll need no material, so those shouldn't even be brought out during the lab. When you complete the exam, we'll ask you to leave the lab. Don't hang out and check your email, etc. Again, because we're monitoring the traffic that goes in there. Plus, it's distracting when you're on Facebook or your neighbor's on Facebook when you're trying to complete this particular exam. So the format is 40 multiple choice questions, each for 2.5 points. There's one bonus question that's kind of, well, you'll see it right away. It's something that I've chosen as a class of bonus questions. Each one of these, so we've generated 140 multiple choice questions in total. So everybody will be getting a different test, and it's dynamically generated. So these questions will be assigned to you, and everybody gets the same amount of easy ones, medium ones, and hard questions. And then from there, you'll go and complete the exam. The good thing about this is it's also dynamically curved. And what that means is we go back after the exam, and I'll show you this in class, and we run statistics on each one of these questions to make sure they're fair, good, they're actually a hard question or easy question, etc. And then I dynamically curve it question by question. So this is, in the past, students have raved about how fair this process is, and we spend a lot of time doing a lot of analysis making sure we give you the most fair and equitable exam. Again, this is a technology class, so we're using all the kind of cool technology and statistical tools to provide you with the kind of the most forward-thinking, most contemporary exam process there is out there. The content, there's going to be 5 sections basically in the content. The first 2 are grouped together, and I'll show you that in a second. Chapter 1, as most chapter 1s in the book, just kind of sets the stage. And I'll show you what to look for in each one of those. We talked about design thinking at length, spent 50 minutes on that. Then we talked about technology and strategy and innovation. And finally, we use a case study Netflix to tie these concepts all together. So this first section really is about understanding the technology platform and all the cool things we can do with it from a business perspective. So that first chapter is probably the least important. There's only 2 or 3 questions based on that. And all I want you to know from that first couple chapters is who founded these following companies. If that's something that you could pull out, which is interesting in kind of environments or interview environments, who founded Amazon, who founded Google, etc., who founded Yahoo, that is an interesting piece of tidbit information that I think every business student should know about. So that's all I want you to concentrate on for that first chapter. So if you know those 6, and this is the least important. Having said, moving forward, design thinking, we're going to do 6 or 7 questions based on that, is going through that lecture, you really have to understand what design thinking is. Take a look at the elements of user experience and understand that figure that a lot of folks use with business design practices. And then we go through the surface to strategy. We go, what is a brand? We talk about the customer empathy map. So those are all things that you should know. So all the questions that I've generated are based on these kind of 7 topics. So what are the elements from surface to strategy? What is the brand, etc. 10 questions on the technology and strategy. So we talked about strategy for 50 minutes again. We talked about this IS strategy triangle and how organizational behavioral strategy and IS strategy are tied together. So I also gave you some organizational strategy types. If it's a low-cost provider, and how they are actually differentiated from their customers. And then we talked about competitive advantage and how to measure that, either using Porter's 5 forces or the value chain. And you should be able to give examples of these different strategies. So that is, though it doesn't seem like a lot, there's a lot of information there. You should know all 5 forces. You should know all the parts of the value chain. You should understand the different parts of the organizational strategy type. So for this, you would look at the book and the slides to get an idea of what the questions are going to be. Here, I've written some questions over the weekend based on the reading and also the slides that were given to you. So you're going to get 10 questions about the rules of innovation. So you'll need to provide examples of what's a disruptive innovation, provide examples of what's a sustaining innovation, and remember there's a test that you should be able to apply to see if it's a disruptive innovation or to sustaining innovation. Then we talked about the precursors to innovation there, and there were those steps and those categories that you need to know to be able to do that. And remember, for innovation, and especially for marketing, when you're wrapping those 2 topics up, marketing cannot save bad technology or innovation, but design can. So bringing those 2 things together, that was kind of how we summarized that last lecture, is important. So we start with design, we move to innovation, we understand now strategy, and then finally we're going to wrap this up into a really interesting case study in Netflix. So Netflix is what you'll go through today. So it'll talk a little bit about the company, what they do, this whole concept of the long tail. And you should know the long tail from a customer perspective, but also from the studios or a vendor perspective. And what are the advantages from the studio of the long tail advantages, and also what are the advantages for customers who are using a service like Netflix. Netflix has a very interesting business model and has evolved over the last 8 years. You should know that. You should know about churn and the churning of customers and that story that takes place in Netflix. There's some costing, marginal fixed costs, so you understand their business model. And then there's this new concept called disintermediation, which I'll go over today. So those are the core topics for Netflix that you should understand. Make sure you understand Chapter 3 reading and also look at the slides for that particular one. So any questions you have, feel free to post on Piazza. If you send me a private post and it's about a test question, there's a chance I'll make it public just so everybody could hear the answer to that and be on the same page. Of course, I won't make public private posts that are concerning grades or personal information, etc. So if you email me or the TAs, I'm also encouraging them. We'll refer you to post to Piazza, so we're building the knowledge base so you use it. I think at last check, we found that. Let's just even take a look here. What are we shooting for statistics for Piazza? So Piazza right now, we have 508 posts. The average response time is 2 minutes. So that is a great thing. And obviously not all questions are answered in 2 minutes. Some take a little longer, but we're getting some quick answers for that. So feel free to use that. Remember to look at the exam review material that I just went through and let me know if you have any questions. Good luck with the exam. I apologize giving you an exam after the long weekend. I wish I didn't have to switch that around, or I wish I had the ability to switch that around, but with the 3 snow days, like I said, I haven't experienced this before. We're really in a crunch to make sure everything gets through. So thanks for your time, and let me know if you have any questions.